So, I mean, I feel like one of the ways to be able to beat the Tiny is just to, I mean, it's so hard to say outpace a Tiny, but deal with him with magic damage before he can pick up a BKB, right? Because you know what he wants. He wants the Shadow Blade, he wants the Echo Saber, he wants the Aghanim Shard, and then he can afford to go into the BKB. But if you could force it out, perhaps prior to the Shadow Blade, you don't have that same ganking potential. So I feel like something like the Keeper of the Light, if you're roaming together with the rest of these three heroes on the Apes lineup, it does enable that somewhat, and
Radiant
it puts a
team
whole lot more
ban.
emphasis onto Rapido
Storm
to be able
Spirit.
to respond to that and constantly be playing perhaps behind the Tiny in a bit more of a defensive role.
Okay. I was expecting an Invoker to be picked up at the 18th, just because to amplify the Tiny, we saw JG have a really good game in game
10
one.
seconds
And I think it's a
remaining.
very good
Team
game
ban.
as well in regards to Tornado, Laneswell versus Ember, can disrupt like the Ember jump in with Inkswell, but they go for their Storm. You have the Hoodwink to create vision, to follow up on the Sand King jump. It's a very good lane versus the Ember Spirit as well, so I like it a lot still.
I mean, Ogre's
10
still in the pool as
seconds
well, right?
remaining.
So I'm assuming that Apes are going to get rid of it with this last
Radiant
ban
team ban.
overall. Pretty rare that you get a position 5 saved to the very last pick of the draft, but that looks like it's going to be the case for UDV. Feeling very confident in this Tiny that they've obviously had the bigger heroes already removed from the pool, even though it was Apes that got rid of it for them. But yeah, I think they still need to lean a little bit
10
more onto
seconds
this.
remaining.
Mm, what can they
Dire
actually
team
do?
ban.
Like if the all-in magic damage strat early on doesn't work, what can they do on Apes to be able to counter the Tiny? That's my only concern right now. Actually, don't get rid of the Ogre. Um, can you PA again into this? I honestly wouldn't hate it. You're not going to get run over. And evasion against Tiny,
10
who doesn't want to
seconds
build
remaining.
MKB, is pretty good.
Radiant
You're
team
going to
ban.
have a Keeper of the Light, potentially, like if it's not being used on the Ember Spirit, Chakra Magic on a PA is fine as well, just allows for more of those jumps. Um, Grim PA lane isn't bad. Into the Sand
I'm
King is kind of but
Yeah, I'm looking at Anti-Mage, honestly. I think it destroys
10
Storm and Sand
seconds
King. The
remaining.
matchup as Tiny is a little bit awkward, but I think you're going to have heroes that can play
5
early, and you can
seconds
go
remaining.
Vanguard Diffuser if you're worried about the Tiny running you over. That's the way I'm
if it
looking at
is,
it.
I'm going to need to see the dab. Oh, come on.
Anti-mage.
Bring it out. Good, good, good. Yeah, I mean, against the Storm Spirit, it's really nice. Against the Sand King, it just makes the lane incredibly hard.
I hate
Basically, only
myself for doing
Slardar
that.
can contest. Too bad. It's
Oh,
immortalized now.
oh
It's only the
no.
Slardar that can really look to contest into it in lane,
10
right? As that
seconds
melee
remaining.
core. Even LC anymore. We saw what happened with it when it was played
5
in recent
seconds.
times. So, how do they now respond to this on UDV? I mean,
I think
the
if
thing is, well, like, what are you thinking? Do you think they just Ogre still?
Yeah, I'm fine with the Ogre. I was before thinking about the Nyx to enable the Storm, because I think that's something we saw UDV have a really good game on in the open qualifiers, where it was just UK scouting. Oh, sorry, where it was, Teehee scouting, and then JG just jumping with a Storm. I don't think you can really do that now. You want to try and look to amplify the Tiny as early as possible. So Ogre, I'm super happy if they go down the Ogre route.
My only thought was, like, with this Dragonite, Grimstroke, Ember Spirit, Coddle, you know what they're going to do, right? They're going to constantly be ganking. They're going to try and find the Tiny before he hits his timings, because Tiny still is going to be able to carry this game if it gets to that stage, right? So my thought is, if you just split the map up and play Sand King, Tiny, and Storm Spirit at complete opposite ends of the map, you might be dying a lot on these heroes, but the other two are going to be farming very effectively. So maybe they can look to go down that route and perhaps pick a support that's going to enable that. I still think it might be Ogre, right? Just because it's going to enable Tiny to get more out of that time that he spends on his own. But that's sort of the mentality that I'm thinking about from UDV. Just don't look to take fights, look to be more efficient than what Apes are.
Seems like they're really considering if they can flex this Sand King as well. They're going through all their possible options if Sand King is even viable as a 5, because we'll find out. And they do Nyx.
You may now select your heroes.
Damn, it feels freaking good to be right.
Give me another one. Give me another one. Come on.
No, we're done. We're good with one dab. I'm not gonna.
How about a woe? How about a
No, we're
woe?
not doing that. I'm not trying to beat the clip. That clip is immortal. Oh, that's every time I watch that clip still, it's so funny. I just was in the gym, came up on the feed. I couldn't stop laughing in the gym. I'm like, dude.
Check
Oh,
out Twitters
far
if you
out.
don't know what we're talking about, by the way. Like
It's a good clip.
it's something for sure, for sure. Good editing as well by the editors that were able to bring that one through. But all right, with the next assassin, you were calling for it. It rounds out the draft. Do you think it's going to be enough for UDV to be able to answer this anti-mage?
No, I don't think so. I think this AM pops off. I think the Nyx enables the Storm Spirit, and I think the Storm is countered by the anti-mage, which is a big concern. So I just feel like how UDV look to play is to group up around the tiny timing. That sounds awkward. Around just Ken when he gets his items, Shadow Blade, Agshot, Echo. You take towers, group up as 5 because AM doesn't really want that. But the Nyx also doesn't like that as well. He is not a hero that likes to group up and ball up early. So I think the one thing though to quickly mention is that I do think Storm's going to have a very good lane versus the Ember. So we'll see how many pickoffs the Storm and the Nyx can get early before the Tiny is like, all right, I want to group up now and take towers.
What I really want to see from UDV in particular, from Teehee on his Nyx, is that you've got to make sure that you've got constant track of the anti-mage and his item timings. As soon as he picks up that Battle Fury, you know he's either going to be laning or he's going to be jungling. So make a play with your Vendetta, look to rotate through, find the anti-mage, play the Sand King, who I would assume would have, or at least be close to the Blink Dagger at the time, and Storm Spirit can just join from anywhere, right? So find the anti-mage, use the Spike Carapace with the Battle Fury Cleave to get the initial stun, follow it up with the Impale, damage coming through from a Sand King Storm Spirit. You should be able to kill this AM and just enable your Tiny further.
I'm to find out. Apes, are we give him the edge? I'm giving Apes the edge. You following me or what?
You know what? Sure, I'll go with Apes. I want to see a game 3.
Oh, the low? Wait.
I'll play an Ember.
Hang on. How did we miss this? What's going on? How did we miss it to not play an Ember?
All right. Well, can I change? But okay, so it's a DK into the Storm anyway. So does that change how you think about this?
Oh man. Look, I don't know if he plays like Raging Potato. That guy is a absolute madman. We'll see. Ember and did they have Coddle in that Raging Potato Ember game? I'm trying. I thought they did, but I'm not certain now.
Can't remember. Remember.
No, I still think AM takes over. I think it just actually takes away from how I thought the Storm Spirit was going to play. Because I thought he was going to have a free lane, which he probably will against a Dragonite. I think DK is definitely a better matchup, but Storm versus Ember is super favorable. Is Dicroy? Well, he didn't level up the Blink. So this could be another kill for UDV. Maybe if they get this kill, I might change my prediction. You go. How long till the stun? 8 more seconds, but for the bushwhack, only a couple. That's the one we're looking out for. Is Jickery like can't cut down all the trees in the area? So can we turn back on UDV, or is it too late?
It might be a little bit too late, but I mean, we'll see. Even with Ken, I mean, even UDV, they've changed up their lanes altogether. Not wanting to.
Oh, I don't know. He's stuck here now, Danog. He's stuck in the trial lane.
He's stuck in a trial lane, and Tiny does not really care about all of his mana being burned, right? He's constantly going to be able to do a lot. Oh, Teehee, unfortunately, isn't there to be able to follow up with the Impale, but that's because he's dragged this lane. Just trying to make life easier for Ken. Make sure that this Tiny gets a good start. Even if it doesn't mean an experience lead, he's going to be able to get that net worth that he needs to be able to respond to this anti-mage.
Well, let's see how the Sand King is going at the moment, being solo into the 2. Looks like he's got a wave under the tower, so only 2 lasted to the moment for Rapido, but he's going to get a lot out of this lane, I imagine. They've got the sentry control at the moment from Apes, but I don't know, like this a melee matchup. Ember, even with Flame Guard, I don't think can run under a Sandstorm and creep away with Caustic Finale. Unlucky with the chains. If Rapido gets chains up, he probably dies there, and he might still anyway. Delul with the Sly, only level 1, but he's got, of course, the Blightstone, and meanwhile, bottom lane, it's going to be UK that goes down from the trio.
Wonder how long you even stay in this lane. Is it until the anti-mage is forced out and then you just look to make a rotation again? Just keep shutting him down? I feel like this is one of those sorts of games where they're just like, all right, JG, time for you to go for a little bit of a carry this time. Seen it with Talon playing around Makoto a lot. And UDV, I've been pretty impressed by JG as well.
That's woo, very nice. We do not see Rapido.
Crow's top.
Yes, so he is. Ingspell gets a connection, and now Rapido is going to continue to be chased down.
Nice.
I got the orb, of course, so Jikro can continue to slowly beat onto the Sand King. Why I had such a reaction like I did is because I often will see a person just TP to a lane, and then the core that they're trying to lane into will just TP to the other side because they weren't the ones to TP first. But Radiant, what they did is they waited for the Sand King to TP back after he died, and then that's when Jikroy followed.
Really good heads up play coming through there. I mean, he's having to adjust now, right? Going into the Vanguard, making sure. But I don't know if you're going to get the farm to be able to pick up this Vanguard, right? He has the first couple of the items towards the Soul Ring, but you know, in an anti-mage lane, we've seen that you're just essentially giving up more and more of your life for him to burn more mana.
Yeah, I mean, Soul Ring is... I can't imagine it's any different to prior patch. I still think it's very core versus an anti-mage, because especially in fights. But see how much he's going to get out of it as Jikroy knows there's no mana on Rapido, so he can't burrow strike to the safety of the tower, and a couple more swipes from Jikroy's anti-mage is able to pick up the second kill. So Apes, very nicely done. This lane swap is very, it's favoring them now.
Yeah, and I'm sure that they made sure to have track of Lucify's mana as well. They realized that he didn't have enough for the Acorn shot and Bushwhack combination, so they were very free to go for that kill. For me now, it's a question of, like, do you even go back to this lane? How's the sentry coverage looking? Ooh, it's in the exact same spot as it was last game.
I like this. They're going to get aggressive instantly. They know they have mana to expend. UK. Inkswell actually holds back the side of UDV.
Oh, no,
now that
Rapido.
Rapido, he's stuck in the middle, so it's just going to be Lucify that can offer out some damage to hold back Jikroy. But I tell you what, the right clicks not really preventing. Rapido's going to go in! Wow, there you go, Danog. That's why you pick up a Soul Ring. Clutch play from the anti-mage. Oh, from the Sand King. Jikroy, not
Almost
as much.
clutch play from the anti-mage. Almost. He got so close. And I was even thinking, like, man, Lucify, what are you doing? He was one right click away from being able to claim the Grim.
Thanks, BT.
I like this. You got some action on a lane. This mid lane, no action. Boring. Storm burst DK. That's a snooze fest. Never mind Dragon Tail for a range creep stun. Danog, let's go.
Yeah, that means he hits up onto that level 6 prior to the storm. Has to be a little bit careful here. I mean, I know you've got the 2 points in the Dragon Blood, but probably can't afford to dive underneath this tower at this stage. I mean, Soul Ring plus the level 2 Breathe Fire. He's trying to tempt JG to look to come back to the lane. I'm going to try and get a few sneaky right clicks in onto the tower as well. Any rotations coming through? T-Heat looks like make a bit of a rotation through, perhaps to go for the backstab, but they are lacking a little bit of vision right now, especially considering it's nighttime. So, Dire, back off. They realize that the Nyx Assassin's been missing off the map for a little bit, so nicely done there.
Yeah, they don't get too much out of the first Elder Dragon form usage. In fact, only about 120 damage on the tower. That's also the first Cardi wave as well, so that is a victory for UDVs. They're continuing to hold the net worth lead. Can they get the rune?
Radiant's middle
Unfortunate.
tower is under attack.
They're going to get a Rapido.
He's gonna pop. UK second level in the Inkswell.
In the desert that frightens
Jikroy,
me.
he's only got 17 last hits on the anti-mage as well, so it's been... So a lot of his net worth is coming off the kill involvement. He's about almost 1,000 behind his counterpart in the Tiny, who did die prior, but Ken is having a good lane.
I mean, we have to remember, right, that Ken got the kill onto Jikroy very early on because of that 1 point in the mana break, and Jikroy died a second time in the laning stage as well. So that's the reason for this net worth deficit, but I still feel like Jikroy's playing the lane as you're meant to be playing it in
Lane Ken and
7.31.
T-Heat.
Dire's middle
Nice
tower
combination
is
with the
under
Avalanche and the Impale, but the Lul offsets this. Now they're going to slide up in a couple of seconds, but
Ooh.
Chain's just shy.
Hey, he didn't actually slight before the chains. Maybe you thought that it would go off cooldown when the chakra magic was used onto him. Just going into that urn as well, realizing that, again, like they're wanting to get aggressive against this Tiny super early on. They're doing it in the laning stage, but the Urn of Shadows, of course, going to enable that
Another attempt.
future play.
Another concoction of spells dished out to Delul. But a chains this time is hit on Tiny. So we'll hold them back. Limmy doesn't have really any regen for Delul. He would have loved to pick up a kill for some earn charges. But level 6, there we go. Back to base, and he'll be to the lane shortly.
He's even got a salve coming out as well on Lim, so should be just fine to be able to retain control over here. And I mean, the second use of the Elder Dragon form is much more effective here from Among Dire, just making sure that that damage over time is ticking through. Is he going to full on commit to it? I wonder if he might not want to leave it in deny range, but with that right click, it will be.
Well, don't let loose if I get it.
Dire's middle tower has been denied.
That's so big though. Even though, of course, tower gets denied, now it just opens up the jungle. JG even gets an invis, and he might look to continue on with the aggression. Needs to, of course, deal with the phantoms. He'll do so with ease, but doesn't want to try and continue on and expend all his mana with the threat of not getting the kill. So JG back off to his jungle to continue farming.
One thing in it now, though, is Jikroy, he's got a few more levels, right? He's level 6. They've given him a lot of this solo time up on the top side, and it does mean that he's been suffering in terms of net worth, but in terms of levels, he's doing just okay. So, will mean that...
Rapido.
Maybe not.
They're going to make the jump. Early use of the counter spell. Rapido's already lost all his mana, and now even they want to dish out the mana void, they will. So Jikroy picking up another kill, and you see instantly the pings, they're coming out. UDV. It's going to be the Storm to answer the cries of defending the tower.
Do you see what he tried to do as well?
No.
He tried to use the epicenter, and then he just ran low on mana, so the channel stopped. He could have very easily just Burrow Striked out of there.
Bounty.
It's 2 wards placed for Apes up top. A lot of emphasis with trying to take this tower. One of them will be underneath sentry range, and the rest of UDV, they've got 4 heroes starting to connect to the lane. Well. They're going to make an attempt on Mamang Dai deep under the tower. Nice sound to prevent the epicenter, but Rapido won't even need it. DK just caught in enemy's territory, and he will go down, and that's also an Elder Dragon form that they get nothing out of.
Yeah, getting rid of that Observer Ward as well. I mean, that's the power of vision. This Observer Ward placed by UDV, it's not the most common spot, and it doesn't provide a ton of vision, but in this instance, when you know that Apes are going to be trying to go for kills very consistently, it's a good one just to make sure that it's in a little bit more of that odd spot and catches out the full rotation.
Oh, not your courier. Okay. Ooh, Ken, a little bit worried you're going to lose your courier there. He's flying over, dancing left and right.
Early game's going well for UDV, though.
Double damage.
The heroes that need the farm are getting it.
You are most gracious.
Yes, but if Delul gets a good timing on the Spirit Vessel, which it looks like he will, this is super scary. This is the build that we saw Ragey Potato go. The position 3 Ember. And I tell you what, it's going to leave a mark on this tiny one.
You never really want to be going into that early BKB like I've been mentioning, so he does need to play a little bit more of that sneaky style. Man, how many wards this game have we seen? A Dire and a Radiant Observer Ward placed right next to each other. They're going to have this siege creep timing here. Stand behind Delul here with UK as well as Lim. Trying to get some damage in onto the tower even without the Dragon Knight's presence. Who's going into the Blink Daggers. So this is kind of what I was expecting, right? Full rotations coming through from Coddle, Dragon Knight, Grimstroke, and Ember Spirit to go for the kills onto important heroes. They won't be able to kill Teehee, but it does mean that this aggressive play, clearing out these waves.
Gonna start onto Delul. Doesn't have any remnants up at the moment. Impeller's gonna hold him back. Storm, can he get the damage out throughout the stun lock? It looks like he won't be able to. And a beautiful side set misses on the sharpshooter as well. So no one has fallen through the flurry of spells that we see deep under the T1 Tower of Dire.
That's good play from both teams, right? Like, you had to respond to this siege creep. You can't just lose a tower for free, especially when you know they're going this aggressive style. Oh, here we go.
Okay, never mind.
Not quite.
Bushwhack always a threat.
Really nicely done by UK as well, right? To dive in beyond the tower, get the Soulbind off, double silence through, even if it's only the 1 point in the Phantom's Embrace, meant that they didn't have the follow-up onto Delul. And some good spell casting as well by him to make sure he's avoiding a lot of the retaliation. So tower's still taken down to less than half HP. And it's bringing a lot of attention down here onto the bottom side of the map and away from the anti-mage, who is going into the Battle Fury build instead of the...
Sidestep the pushback, but still the same control comes out thanks to T here and JG. Oh, Jesus. That's a lot of damage.
Yeah. I mean, that's the difference from not having the Grimstroke there, right? If Grimstroke's there, you probably are able to survive because you get that silence off. He has the Dust here available on UK. I feel like you almost, yeah, absolutely go for the kill.
Jikro's taking a lot of damage onto the tower, though.
Yeah.
Whew. Long zip into. Man, you don't want to expend all your mana with the threat of an ultimate from Jikro, but he doesn't blink away! JG just gets the Vortex, and now Tihi. Beautiful rotation, trying to line up the Impale, and with Coddle's movement speed.
Stupid hero.
Yeah. Hey, what do you mean? Hang on now. Leave the Coddle alone.
He's too fast, man. No support should be moving that quickly 13 minutes into the game.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
We finally get this T1 tower bottom from Dalul. But here we haven't really been mentioning too much because he hasn't been in the action is Ken. He is just having a field day back in the jungle. Top of the net worth. Looks like with the Echo, Blitz Knuckle into the Aghanim Shard. We're eyeing up Jikro top again though. Dire. The smoke. They're going to look to pick him off for the second time in a row. And the perfect use of the stuns from UDV makes sure there is no opportunity for a blink away.
Radiant's top tower
And that's just the strength of this Tiny, right? Like, Ken, like you've mentioned, he's farming away. He's opened up more than a 2,000 net worth lead over the Anti-Mage. And that's because until Anti-Mage has this Battle Fury, he has to farm in lane. It just gives you more gold, more experience, gets you closer towards that key timing of your Battle Fury. Whereas Tiny, he could just go back to the jungle. You know, he can look to even use his Avalanche Toss combo if he wants to be able to secure some of this. You're not revealing yourself on the map, and it just makes it a lot harder for the enemy team to gank you. Really, what UDV are doing to the Anti-Mage is what I wanted Apes to be doing against Ken prior to him picking up his BKB. But, I mean, look at him. He's almost got the... well, he has the Aghanim Shard. It's just a matter of 30 seconds until he brings it out to him.
Radiant's middle
I
tower
don't know if Radiant smoked under this really obscure ward in the river. Kind of the left side of the Roche pit. So I think Coddle was on the low ground, but I'm not 100% certain. By the looks of it, they are aware that something is coming out. And this is, of course, the blink timing on among Dire. And, well, they're going to reveal that now. So they do have full information on UDV.
To me, it just feels like they're playing a little bit too slow on Ape's side, right? Like, yes, you've got an anti-mage, but you picked this specifically in response to the Storm Spirit, and I feel like Jikro's
look at this again for Peter. He's going to reveal the blink first, and they've got the burst. Oh, they miss on the sharpshooter. So Jikro just holds his life, and now with the TPs starting to flock in, Jikro is even going to make them pay. And it'll be Dalul actually claiming the kill, but we'll see if that bites them, because every death on the anti-mage is super costly pre-Battle Fury. Gonna smoke, lose a fight, great positioning. He's gonna pop the smoke, of course, at the sacrifice of his life.
Your life was nothing.
I like the restraint from Dalul as well, realizing that we only caught out a Hoodwink. The important part of him joining into that team fight is that he finally gets those charges into the Spirit Vessels. So he's got 3 now, didn't even need to use one to be able to kill the Hoodwink. So it's just more and more to be able to make aggressive plays happen against Ken. So looking to maybe push out this mid lane. I want to see them go for another smoke play and try and catch someone out, but doesn't seem like they have one really.
All right, we need to talk about some item builds because we've had a lot of action, haven't really had, well, a lot of, not many kills, but just the threat of all of them. JG is going first item BKB, so incredibly defensive. What do you feel like the big reasoning is here for the Storm? What's he worried about in the early game? All right, hold that thought, more action. Nice impale from Tihi, maybe giving JG some breathing room. He's going to leash up to the Nyx though. Oh no, that's not the direction you want to soul bind. Dalul pouncing on forward onto Tihi. Remnant's going to do the trick, but he's still going to be cautious. Rapido hits back, and I tell you what, that's a hard retaliation. Epi drop, plenty of bursts, and in the end, a 2 for 2.
Well, that's why you want your BKB, right? You would be able to avoid a lot of that and just be able to get on out. But for me, I think it just comes down to the fact of, again, Ken is having an amazing game, and it's basically... Oh.
Ding. Peter, nice burrow.
I think you just need to make sure that you're living and not feeding kills away to bring this anti-mage closer to the Tiny, because Tiny is going to outcarry an anti-mage. Tiny is going to be able to deal with a Dragon Knight and an Ember Spirit. They have nothing to deal with a hyper-farm Tiny, in my eyes, on the Ape side. So really, JG is just like, look, I just need to make sure that I'm making a lot of plays happen, taking attention away from the Tiny, and yeah, opening up the opportunity for my team and my core to win the game.
Okay, and then what about this anti-mage going Battle Fury instead of a Vanguard Diffusal Blade that we have seen kind of the rise of?
I wouldn't hate it if the rest of his team had been a lot more aggressive onto the Tiny to make their net worths a lot more even, or even anti-mage favored, right? Because if you go onto the Tiny, UDV know that he's the one that they need to carry this game, right? So they would have responded to it, and it just takes away those ganks that are potentially being initiated onto Jikroy. So the fact that, unfortunately, they weren't able to do that, and Jikroy ends up dying 3 times in the laning stage, plus that 4th time before the laning stage even started, it's a big deal.
Double damage.
They're going to smoke instantly with the double damage rune on Mamang Daya. They had the lane ward. So they do know the positioning of Jikroy, sorry, of Ken after he farmed the lane. I don't know, man.
Nice.
This Tiny to pick BKB up. This could be a bait. Let's see if the rest of the team get to the area fast enough. BKB still not popped yet from the Tiny. Oh, perfect. Apes. Great way to infiltrate into the triangle. But the pincer starting to occur. UDV bring their forces to the area. Look at Apes' positioning, though. They're going to continue to play with their vision.
I really feel like he had a tiny little window to be able to pop the BKB, but just didn't. A little bit unfortunate there for Ken, but that's the exact play that I'm talking about, right? Hit your timings, go for the kills onto the Tiny before he's going to move.
Rapido pounces as well. JG with the BKB reveal. He's going to try and target down with the supports. UK does at least get the Soulbind off, so Storm Spirit at least together in the middle of the fight. It's going to turn as well with the Nyx Assassin controlling, but Delul being respectful. With the Sun's on cooldown, the Ember can continue to play aggressively, especially with Lim nearby. Further amplifying the Ember's damage, and he's just going to tick out. Delul picks up a double. In the end, a relatively even trade, but they do get the position too, I suppose, on Mamang Daya.
They're doing what they need to, right? Like Jikroy, he's farming out the lanes, and it's the first time that he's been able to do that without fear of being gone on, although, have a look on this top side. Teehee. This is the play that I was talking about, right? He's going to look to go and farm the neutral camp. You're going to try and use the Spike Carapace to be able to get the initial stun onto him.
I think they need... Oh, that's a lot of damage with the Vendetta. There we go.
Yep.
Onto AM, and he's going to pop. Very nicely done from UDV. Radiant, they're still nearby. Just the supports playing with their vision. They do have the Lul starting to connect, and Mamang Daya. So they're going to try and hit back as Ken. That's the target. Vision, Teehee behind him. The Lul's going to show, though. Ken's going to further position to the northern side, closer to some reinforcements. Oh, beautifully done. He gets the BKB off, and all of a sudden, Radiant, they're going to have to look to retreat away from the area. They know this is a failed gank, and UDV will make sure there is not an opportunity as Teehee finds the first stun, the second somewhat lacking until Ken tosses it up, and he dies as soon as he drops down to the ground.
Yeah, as soon as Animage died that time, he started pinging on the ground saying, oh, they've got vision here. But no, my man, you just walked from the lane into the jungle, making things a little bit obvious, even able to get that clean-up kill after the fact. So I think wherever Anti-Mage wants to farm, and it is still going to be a little bit of time that he spends farming, you either need to know where the Storm Spirit is on the map, or you need to have a ton of Sentry Ward coverage to be able to protect your farming patterns.
Peter is going to run to Jikroy, charges up the Epi, Lucifies nearby. Ultimate just comes off cooldown, and Lin has to stand by and watch. No stun, no save, no anything. 6
No
death of the game.
Coverage. That's right. Like, it's not the Nyx this time. It's just a lucky Invis rune coming through from Rapido. So you need sentries. Like, this is one time where I'll be able to call out the supports and say, look,
again, they're
probably
going.
should be able to cover that.
I mean, Dai's still without a BKB. They're going to try and give him a Glimmer Cape. Ken, very nicely done, pushing back the Tiny. And Dai, they're going to be a little bit hesitant now if they can stick around. They didn't get the initial kill. So giving some respect to the 4 heroes and Apes that could turn it around.
All right. What are the inventories looking like? 2 sentries, UK. Need more than that. Those are rookie numbers, but they do see JG farming underneath their own Observer Ward here on a pretty common spot. So with the Blink Dagger, able to potentially go in and get the catch.
Nice scan.
Yeah. Very nice scan. I understand why Apes made that movement towards the high ground. They wanted the high ground advantage so that they got the vision first before the pop. But just really good awareness coming through from UDV.
And look at this. Teehee's wrapped all the way around. So he's dropped the ward over by the Ancients. And it's just another way for UDV to set up when the AM is farming by the triangle.
Just more of these, let's call them unorthodox warding positions, right? Normally you would put this observer ward up onto the high ground where it's much more likely to be dewarded. Instead, it's just in the lane.
Jumping onto the Grimstroke underneath the ward. Radiant, I think you need to vacate away from the area. Just give up the life of the Grim, but my main Dire has been caught out as well as GG zips on forward. Instantly, UDV moving to reoccupy their own jungle, and with 2 down, what's a consideration? It's pretty close to Rosha. They're going to think about it. Oh, they want blood, though. They see the AM farming deep.
And they also don't see anyone on the map. I think Ken briefly
they're going to
showed,
jump the Ember
but,
instead. Ken, perfectly done. Holds the combo, waits till the burrow expires.
Just,
okay, maybe not perfect.
He just wanted to look big for a change, you know?
Understandable. He's a big boy.
There's no ogre this game.
Radiant
So he's like, you know what?
scanning.
I need the extra size.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, I feel like this game's out of control now. You know, Anti-Mage, he just is about to pick up his Manta style, but I mean, just have a look at Tiny's net worth in the same time. 5,000 more net worth going into that Silver Edge. We saw how big of an impact it had on the PA in the previous game. It's going to be basically as big, just less so the break, more so the crit, just to be able to take down heroes like the Ember Spirit and the Anti-Mage before they're able to use their escape tools.
It's a concern for Apes. I mean, you're down a game already. Now you're down 12,000 net worth as well, and UDV continuing to get to some of these items. JG Orchid completed. Silver's Edge, like you were mentioning, and it's go time. I think UDV, they're going to look to take a fight by Roshan so they can, if you win the skirmish, and even lead it to an objective afterwards.
Sure, why not? I mean, the thing that I really like about UDV is that they instantly use their timings. They make sure to look to group up together, assuming that they're going for a smoke here soonish, although they actually don't have any. Is there one coming out on the courier? Yes, there is. So a little bit of a misplay coming through there. It just gives him that extra 30 seconds that you might need to finish up the Manta style or get a little bit closer towards that BKB, because that is the real next big timing coming through from Jikray. He needs to be able to pop that to be able to start a lot of these engagements and be a little bit more on the front foot as opposed to constantly getting engaged onto.
See how much chaos Delul can even make as well. I think BKB is now coming out for the Ember.
They see UK.
That they do. Teehee and Rapido. Stun.
Bottom tower is under attack.
And in the meantime, Ken's just like, oh, what's that? An unguarded tier 2 chop?
Chonk, chonk.
It.
Very cool.
Radiant
Tiny, great hero, huh?
structures are fortified.
And I mean, what else do you have in terms of stuns if the
Radiant's
Grimstroke is
bottom
dead,
tower
right? It's
is under
just the
attack.
Dragon Knight. And 3 seconds ain't a long time. You're going to be able to get off that BKB before they're able
Radiant's
to
bottom
follow you
tower
up.
has fallen.
And it's not like
Lost Emperor's control as well.
Apes don't have crazy team fight to get back in this game. Maybe Lim, he is going to the Agnes. The Aghanim, so they will have the Ignis. But I don't know. Like, it will be
Dire's
really
top
solid
tower is under
to
attack.
disrupt who they're jumping on. Or speaking about jumping,
Not if he
JG.
dies.
They're just slowing down this Aghanims and Jikroy. You gotta be cautious how long you stay. Because the rest of UDV, they are coming to the area.
Maybe he's thinking, well, maybe I can
I
get
don't
the kill
know.
onto JG here. It's going through his
Mid
mind,
lane,
man.
what's
This is
going
the
on
mind
here?
of a Southeast Asian
Dial.
player.
He still doesn't have a BKB on the Dragon Eye. Epicenter committed. They just want to secure the kill into the position too, making sure there's no escape. Even the body block from Teehee, putting more corpses into the grave. Teehee, whoo, very close.
I think the Lotus Orb got rid of the Spirit Vessel that was onto him, so that's what was needed to enable his survival. Straight into Roche, why not? UDV, they're just playing this clinically, right? And I feel like Apes, they missed their timing. They weren't able to connect onto the Tiny. Jikroy was the one that was caught out on a lot of these early ganks. They're even looking to ping him out, and well, wisely enough, he's going to be able to TP back to base, but you've still lost Roche.
All right, you were wrong in game 1. But I'll give you an
what?
opportunity with the prediction, with the win probability prediction. So
1%.
is that what you...
95. Oh, one off again. God damn it.
Truly not the Oracle. Ken? The jump, another toss, and another kill as Lim underneath sentry. This guy's pretty speedy. Alright, not another kill. Ah, yes, Danog.
Whipping himself to make him even faster, because that's what you need as a coddle.
Come on, man. He needs more movement speed. What are you saying? It's like the nerf Crystal Maiden's movement speed. You need to buff the coddle's movement speed. Let's see. If they're setting up on Jikro bottom. Okay, Lucify's going to reveal his positioning.
They're setting up on Mamang top.
Oh, no. Mamang Daya. Whew, this is one poor Dragon Knight. They even toss him closer to Ken just so he can help out with maybe getting an extra kill afterwards on Lim, but he's going to TP out into the tree line. He's waiting for him to poke his face out.
He also didn't have the impale as well, so I'm sure he would have gone for the blind one if he had it. But yeah, I mean, at least it's giving a little bit more time for Jikro to get close to his BKB, but if it just means that Mamang Daya is going to die over and over and over and over again without being able to get his own, really doesn't show the value of having this DK first pick, right? I was a little perplexed seeing it come out first in the entire draft.
UDV, they've definitely shown that they've had the answers to the Dragonite. And keep in mind, this was banned first phase as well in game 1. Or UK, or almost a solo target of the epicenter. Rapido going to do the best he can to protect his wards. He's still going to get the Grimstroke afterwards. And Lim? I don't know. They're even going to scan just to make sure they get another kill on the support UDV. They are everywhere on the map. And instantly as they get those 2 kills, look at Rapido just TPing back to the mid lane, trying to set up and find Jikro.
Feels like they're just playing very defensively. They're playing to not lose right now, as opposed to making more aggressive plays. And it kind of has gotten beyond that stage, to be fair. But, you know, the Keeper of the Light going for the Aghanim Scepter instead of having the recall.
Jikro, you're so greedy. He went for the farm. Manta, BKB, none of them's going to be used. And I know you're saying they're playing to lose, or it's not like they're playing to win, but Danog, this is an anti-mage lineup. This is what you've come to hate over the years. In so many games we see of this hero, and it looks like he hasn't changed with this build. There's another kill, and that's wow. Not even going to try and see if the aim has any hope. They just call it quits even before any barracks are lost. UDV able to find their first series victory, and it's a convincing one over Apes.
Yeah, they were convincing against TNC as well, right? In their first series, even game 3, I think they had a 13,000 net worth lead at 40 minutes, but it was with a Huskar draft. This time around, they had a tiny, something that, you know, against what the Apes had looked to draft, you were able to win many a team fight. And honestly, I feel like the Apes were just setting up for themselves to get the tiny. Like you mentioned, first pick into that second phase, they just stealed it away from themselves on UDV's side, and Apes did them the favor of banning out the Medusa and the Monkey King, so they didn't even need to worry about all of that for themselves as well. So I know both of us, we went for the Apes with this draft, but I just feel like they played it incorrectly, at least in my humble opinion, right? They didn't make enough, take enough attention away from the anti-mage. He TP'd back to a tri-lane. He went for this Battle Fury build, which again is fine if you're ganking the Tiny, but they didn't gank the Tiny. So Tiny was able to outscale him. It's one of those best heroes at being able to take care of the anti-mage, right? Because even Counterspell, that's not going to stop an Avalanche from being able to lock you down for the amount of time that it takes to take you out.
Yeah, we saw Vision be a big factor in the second game. Not only was it the wards we were harping on a lot, just how somehow both sides had wards in like the identical placement, but I think also the Nyx was a big reason how they were able to set up, get those pickoffs on the map, and then they got the towers and they could close out from there. And unfortunately, Jikro wasn't in a position where he could solo carry this game. So UDV, a beautiful performance for them. They're going to be able to take the series 2-0, and we should be eyeing up for a potential interview as well. We'll just be waiting on that one if we do get some confirmation. But This is now Apes dropping 0-2. UDV, of course, going to get their first win on the board. And I mean, for the rest of the night, though, we've got some exciting series. We're moving over to Division 1. So, Danog, I know we got Polaris versus Boom. That's going to be the last series of the night. And then we've got Enigma Galaxy C taking on T1, if I remember correctly.
Yes, that's true. So hopefully that we get to see some games this time around, because we're a little bit of an anticlimax, unfortunately, not being able to see Enigma C going up against Boom. But this time around, fingers crossed, it's going to be a great night of SEA Dota.
Yes, without a doubt. Without a doubt. It's going to be beautiful to see how the top teams are able to combat. I know everyone's looking at Boom for their first series of Spring Tour. You know, we're also looking to see how Polaris, I mean, they had a really hot start, 2-0 at the moment. Can they match up versus the reigning champs? The game is Galaxy champs, and T1, they struggled in their first series, being 2-0'd by Polaris. So how can they fare versus another team that was promoted? But we do have an interview. I just have to make sure we got Teehee joining us. He is deafened though, so I want to let him know before he joins, otherwise he won't know. Okay, there we go.
He's got his webcam up as well. I'm not sure if you've got
you weren't supposed to say that.
the facilities for that.
No, we do
Too
not have
bad.
the facilities for that.
All right, no worries. We'll see him, and we'll tell everyone that he looks nice.
Okay, beautiful. All right, we'll bring him in. Teehee, hello, are you there? Can you hear us? Teehee, hello?
Hello, Teehee. Uh-oh.
No, it's all good. It's all good. We'll work it out. See, he wasn't deafened too, so we'll get confirmation there of what's going on. Keep let me do some admin work.
Keep making time.
He's
like he's away from his PC.
He turned his camera back on, but his
it's a ghost chair. Oh man, amazing. So while we're waiting for him to come back, with this result, does that change your expectations for where we're seeing UDV? I mean, based off that, they were really clean. There were some minor mistakes which are very easy to fix, and he's come back in division. Teehee, can you hear us?
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes. Thank you, and congratulations on the big win.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. I want to talk about, this series. It was very clean, 2-0. First in game one with a push strat, and then in game two with, this more, I don't want to say unorthodox, but it felt like you stole the Tiny away from the Apes. Is that kind of your mentality when you went into the draft, when you saw their bans in the second phase? Or was it something that you were always planning to do?
I just stole it because I saw they banned the Medusa. Then I was like, oh, if I stole the Tiny here, they have no ways to kill my Tiny anymore. Then they'll try to go for like Terrorblade. It's kind of good against Tiny, but we have Sanking against the Terrorblade, so no way they wanted to pick Terrorblade there. It's kind of hard for them to pick like, those kinds of heroes. So
Sure.
it's like a steal pick actually.
Yeah. And how do you feel like the first series that you played was against TNC? It was very close. I thought you guys almost took it out. It must have been a little bit disheartening to lose that one. But did you take any learnings from that? And if so, what do you think were the big things that you really discussed as a team?
It's more like closing out of the game because we actually had the game there. If we just try to, go for the objectives instead of uh try to jump them, like try to go for kills instead of going for objectives. It's quite bad.
You got anything, Lockie?
you guys are boot camping, right?
Yeah.
Where are you guys
Thai.
located?
Thailand.
Thailand, yeah. Is I was just going to ask you in regards to like third-party tournaments, because we've seen you play a lot of them pre-DPC. I'm just intrigued on kind of your thought process around them and UDV in particular. Like, are they just scrims for you, official scrims? Do you take them seriously? Or are you just mainly going to them to like work on a lot of things?
I think we just any matches we just take them seriously, even though scream stuff like that. Yeah.
And with your, you go.
You go.
I was going to say, with your preparation for this series up against Apes, and I guess any in particular, are there any things you really focus on? Like kind of what's like a week in UDV, I suppose, on things you work on to get set up?
It's more about heroes and what they do in general, like matchup wise, how we pick Huskar. But actually, when the time we pick Huskar, that time there, we just trusted the guy, but then he kind of lost the lane, so it didn't go as well as planned. So we try to come back from, just playing from behind. Yeah.
Okay. So Huskar players aren't to be trusted, is what you're saying.
Not unless he spam the hero like Mamang Daya, like
Yeah.
he's level 30 Grandmaster Huskar.
Yeah, Mamang Dyer or Lil Gun, wherever they decide to play, you could definitely trust that. But I want to ask you as well, just about something specific to yourself. The move to support is a bit more of a more recent one for you, just in the past 2 years or so. How have you really felt making that move from position 1 or 2 to playing in support, and how does that change your preparation going into official series like this?
It's just I feel like if you're getting age, as time goes by, your reflexes going down. So it's more like you give the young players the course because they have way better reflexes, stuff like
Bro,
that.
you're,
And
you're
then
26. You're acting like you're old as hell. aren't you?
no, it's just
Uh,
also the fact that they some players told me you're calling shots a lot, so why don't you play support? Then maybe I'll do a better job. Uh, that's what I think.
I mean, it's been working out for you, right? Like it seems like your results are looking really good. You're able to come through the qualifiers really effectively. I was casting you in a bunch of these third party tournaments. So you've done very well too. So yeah, I think the move is working really well. And like I said, it's still a relatively new change to you, right? So you're going to have a lot of room to grow. Is there anyone that you really look to as like the position 5 that you look to try and learn from?
mm, maybe scam because they're you know top of the game right now. Boom
Hmm.
Esports.
Yeah, it did really feel like, particularly with that game 2 draft, that felt a little bit like a boom draft, right? You've got the instant setup start for the Hoodwink follow up, and you're kind of there as the Nyx, or Scam likes to do it with the Bane, where he
Hmm.
also sets up for a lot of engagement. So, do you feel like you're trying to copy a lot of what Boom is trying to do, just as a team overall in strategy?
Yeah, we kind of copy them when we watch their games. Then we felt like, oh, we kind of have the same heroes, our mid and carry. They like to play these heroes also. So maybe we'll try on how they draft and let's see how they think.
I have one more question. What was the real what was the thing that set off the change from changing JG and Ken from being, mid lane, safe lane, and the swap that happened? What really led to that big change?
Because this Ken guy, when he goes mid, he doesn't say anything. Like he never calls for objective. He never calls for us what he wants to do in the game. But if you let him play carry, he just farms, farms, farms. Then he'll say something. We can end the game now. Uh,
Just a silent assassin, essentially, is what he is, right? Like,
uh,
nice, nice. You can trust him to farm, but you can't trust him to do anything in the first 30 minutes. Understood, understood. But
uh,
great. I appreciate your honesty. You have anything else, Aries?
I'm all good. I also appreciate your time. Thank you very much for joining us, T. And congratulations on your victory. Do you have any closing comments, any shout outs to the fans?
uh, just support UDB. Thank you guys.
Thank you
And
very
where can
much.
people follow you as well? Can people follow you anywhere on social media or Twitch or anything like that?
I don't know. I don't have anything like that actually.
Okay, no worries. Just UDV then. Look up UDV on socials and make sure to support them.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very
Bye
much,
bye.
mate. Perfect. All right, Danog, there we go. Our one and only series for Division 2 is done for the night. Like we were saying before, there are 2 Division 1 matches though, but they're a while away. They're a while away. We're going to have quite a break. They'll be starting in about an hour and 10 minutes. First one's going to be T1 up against Enigma Galaxy C and Boom up against Polaris. But it was nice to get into the head a little bit of T here and just, saying he's a boomer apparently, the reflexes is
26.
yeah, 26.
26 and he thinks he's a boomer. I mean, when he said that, my heart dropped. I'm like, man, you don't understand what you've got coming in the next few years. But Oh, lucky players. The privilege is what it is, but he's played really well for sure, and I really like the way that UDV were able to close out this one.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, their first series victory, so hopefully they're able to build some momentum off that. Of course, I'm sure they're drinking all their mate. That's where they're getting the energy. Of course, our beautiful partner for the spring tour, your mate, a natural energy drink, which is caffeine reimagined. You can try mate today and get more day, more night. And we do have a special offer for everyone. It's such a beautiful offer as well. 50% off when you go to bts.gg/mate and use the code BTSDota. There's free shipping in selected regions. You got Singapore, Malaysia, our beautiful home of Australia, New Zealand, US, and Taiwan as well. So thank you very much to our partners in Mate. And Danog, like we said, that's going to be it for us tonight here for the Division 2 setup. But let's do this. Let's do some pre-predictions. I know pre-predictions are never fun, but we've got to give the fans what they want. How are we looking for Division 1? What are we looking at?
It's not going to count for our scoring, will it?
No, it's not. Of course.
Only
not.
ones that we cast. Okay.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
going to be spicy then. Enigma C to 2-1 T1.
Yep.
And Boom to 2-1 Polaris.
Okay, I agree with the first one. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be 2-0 for Boom or not. So, yeah, I'll go 2-1.
Polaris are looking good.
They are. I'll go 2-1 Enigma C, and sure, I'll go 2-1 as well, but I think Boom will take it. You are right. They are looking good, but I reckon they can take a map. Boom's a different beast.
Yep.
So it's going to be
And
scary.
that's going to be about an hour's time, right? I think we'll come back a little bit before the games because we'll have our lovely panel there. And yeah, make sure you're staying here on BTS. Maybe in the meantime, queue a pub, order some mate, have some snacks because it's going to be non-stop action later on. And you and I will be back tomorrow. So that'll be very exciting to be able to cast some more Dota. But stick around or be on the summit. You got plenty more SEA Dota action coming your way in about an hour's time.
Yeah. So in an hour, you guys will have the Division 1 matchups. Don't go anywhere, like you said. Queue up some pubs and then come back to see all the best teams in Southeast Asia battle it out. Thank you all for tuning in, though, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for Division 2.
Bye.